Yo, so I was trying to come up with a video to make, and I was sitting outside, relaxing, and I thought about my kids. And when I say my kids, I mean my students. And I realized that, like, I wanted something out of the pandemic. I really wanted something that was going to be meaningful for them. I wanted to keep them engaged. I generally, sorry. I generally like wanted them to feel more secure in what I was teaching them because they never get to see the other side of it. I teach filmmaking if you didn't know and digital photography, and I always wanted to get them to see like how I create certain stuff behind the scenes. But there was a disconnect between me trying to teach them filmmaking and them actually making films because now they have to use their cell phones. Not only like just one or two had cameras. We're not used to like being a part in making a film that comes together because that just echoed more about like what I do behind the scenes as opposed to them actually doing it. And I realized while I was thinking about this that like I really do feel like we failed children when it comes to how we adapted to COVID-19 and remote learning. So when I think about remote learning, I think about college classes and I think about online schools. And I'm like, for college kids, online schools are very sometimes difficult, but not it's not unobtainable. It's not something where like you have to think super hard about what you're going to be teaching them, how you're going to be teaching it, this, that, and the other. It really is easy in the form of like you understand what the tasks are about to be given to you, and hopefully your professor guides you through it. And I'm like, but that's for college kids. To adapt that to a K to 12 learning is really weird to me. I think about my children again. And I think about how maybe in some form or fashion, when you look back at the lessons you taught, you can see how they were rushed. I think about how I could have had them more hands-on in class. I think about the togetherness we felt when we were doing a film. I think about how we made scripts, how I talked to them about certain ideas. It was very hard to convey that emotion, that passion that I always saw in them when we weren't all together in the classroom. So when it comes to remote learning, I thought about it like, why are we pushing these same standards on children? Why are we pushing the same standards that we've always had for school in a completely different environment? That's not fair to them. You're asking anyone from the age of 6 to 17 to be able to handle such a drastic shift in such a short amount of time. They didn't ask for that. They didn't call for that. This wasn't their decision, but it kind of just got, thrown at them. And it's weird to me because it says to me that like, well, I was thinking about this in one form where I was thinking about my boss, or my former boss, I should say. And I thought about the staff that were around her and a lot of the technical issues they had with even running after school. And I remember the training that we had on Zoom, and I was like, it was a training on how to use it. And I'm like, a lot of people here are technically literate. You shouldn't have to sit there and teach them for an hour about how to use a new app. I'm pretty sure we can figure it out. Is it like Skype? If it's like Skype, we'll just do it like Skype. But it showed me that like not everybody is forward in this world when it comes to what's necessary, what's coming, what's here. How do we use these things? Like I was thinking about, why don't we make a computer building class? I'll have kids go on PC Part Picker and try to like create their like most amazing builds, and we'll help design them. And we could do little cool graphics with that. I could teach them how to use certain apps, certain emulators. But then I was thinking, wow, not every kid has a computer. And there's so many limits to what we could have done. There's so many limits that we thought of, and we placed ourselves as teachers under those limits, that it really like rung true to me. Wow, not everybody's on the same page when it even comes to what's present in current time. What's present in the current nature of how we live. What do I know that like is all of a sudden, like I know how to build computers. That's a necessary thing now. But back to the students, it just, all of this just kept layering on to me into this like rant about how I can't fathom why we put the same standards onto students that we used to in school. You can change a child's environment and that'll automatically change their feeling, which is the exact opposite of what we're aiming for, where we're trying to keep the same feeling but with a change of environment. That's not reasonable. That is not an agreement we can come to with anyone under the age of 22. You're asking a multitude of millions of child age people to change their environment to something that's they're comfortable with. Their break away from school, their difference maker and how they view the world. And you're inviting school into their home. And then you're being as harsh, if not harsher, in their own home. How do you think that's going to build to their development? You're worried about what? Kids cheating on tests? I'm confused here. If you're worrying about kids cheating on tests, all they're going to do is Google the answers. That resource is to them whether you like it or not. Use that as part of your lesson. Be more open-ended. Be more casual with how you go about trying to echo sentiments. You trying to be the same teacher that you were in the classroom at home is not going to work, just purely because that's not your place. Let's recognize. We would hate it if we hate y'all. When I taught college, oh my god, this was the one thing in like the lounges that I would always hear from other professors. And it's like, yo, I hate when students email me too much. I hate like giving out a text line and having it blow up at 3:00 in the morning. And I'm like, so if you would hate students intruding in your lives, what do you think this situation is? You have to reformat how you think about how you approach your students. And I feel like we didn't do that. And that's not our fault. We weren't given enough time. So I'm literally saying this for a future thing. I don't think we were given enough time, but we're supposed to be the professionals here. We're supposed to know how to adapt and change our circumstances to handle different types of learning abilities in the classroom. And we just blanket approach, let's just move to Zoom and let's keep everything normal. Kids don't feel normal. Our job is to be welcoming guides into how adults might treat them in the future. And we're not even welcoming enough. I'm seeing posts on Twitter. I'm seeing weird ass lecture notes. I'm reading weird ass commands for if you want to use loose leaf paper. One professor said you got to do a full scan of your room. I need to know, open your closets to make sure nobody's in there type shit. And I'm like, who the fuck are you? Like, who are you to even demand that of somebody like, fuck off, dude. Literally fuck off. And it just got me to thinking, like, the way we approach this was not fair. And the people who suffer the most are our students, the children. Because we're going to ask them to come back to school one day, and it's like, what are they going to have picked up? They're going to have to regain all those social skills. We could have made the gap easier. We could have been like, I know there's a pandemic going on, and you have no idea what that feels like. So let me be the helping guide. Here's the test. Study up on it. The day of, don't look at any resources. Take the test. Reformat the questions so it's not something they could just Google. Make it so they have to inference stuff. Give them a time limit so even if they tried to Google stuff, it wouldn't give them enough time to do so. And boom, bada bing. Timed quiz. But we didn't do that. We didn't get enough time to even think that far ahead. So it's a failure on all parts now. I just wish we were better. I wish we approached this with more nuance. I wish we approached this with the identity that we cared about more than just our jobs. And that's across all 50 states. I feel like teachers fumbled that bag so hard, and then parents got upset, and then children got upset, and then things were upsetting, and this was upsetting, and that was upsetting, and this was upsetting. Everything hurt, and nobody cared, and everybody cried, and everybody suffered, all for the fact that we didn't even get a break. We should have just resumed classes 3 weeks later. We'll figure this out. Let's just resume classes. But no, we shut down, opened up Zoom, and was like, all right, kids, this is where you're doing it. We gave them no comfort, no care, no desire, no push forward to say, hey, things are really bad right now, but they'll get better, and we're going to stick with you with them, and we're going to make sure that even if you don't get a full education, we're at least giving you the best given the circumstances. We're not going to make this difficult or hard or easy. We're going to make this approachable for everybody, and we didn't. So now it's like, if we don't care about the kids, then what the fuck do we care about? Why am I in this profession? Why do I give a shit? I keep looking up at the clock, wondering how much time I've spent. And honestly, it don't matter because I could spend hours talking about this. We truly fucked up. We give the kids a fucked up situation, and there's nothing left. There's nothing left for them but pure, like, apathy for what's going on. Kids are going to come out of this being like, oh, I guess that was bad. Now they don't have the empathy. Let's say in 60 years they become the next anti-maskers. Who cares, right? Who cares? That's my thoughts on that subject today. Please like, subscribe, hit the button, hit the like button. I like Corey Kenshin a lot. Oh no, man. One day I'm gonna make a video that's just gonna blow up. And people will see it, be like, yo, dead ass, son, you right about that. Then I can make more topics about shit.